Hey guys, what's up and welcome to the review of the Headwolf FPad 1 8-inch tablet. I have to say, when I first got this tablet, I thought it was going to be a piece of crap and just not worth it. But my mind has been changed and not probably what you think. So let's get right into the review and get started. So, talking about the build of the tablet, this is an 8-inch tablet. You will notice that this, just like other manufacturers, they Photoshop their pictures to make the bezels look smaller than they actually are. So they're definitely a lot bigger than what is shown in the picture. So don't be fooled. If you are going to buy this tablet, you are going to be getting something with big bezels on the top and bottom and decent sized bezels on the side. The body of the tablet, though, on the other hand, is rubber, and it's actually very, very nice. In fact, I actually like it a lot more than more premium tablets. I'm just going to go grab it right now, that have a metal back. So this is my Lenovo Tab M8. Lenovo Tab M8 FHD. So it's much more expensive. This thing is almost twice the price, and it's metal. I'll be honest, this is more premium, but this feels better. All right, so when you're looking at something rubber like this, it makes it light, which is very important for tablets, and it feels nice to the touch as well. Doesn't mean there's no downsides. As you can see, fingerprints galore. Fingerprints are everywhere on this rubber. You clean it and mostly goes away, but otherwise it's, well, fingerprinty. But I still prefer rubber over metal, and I don't know if you prefer that as well, but that's personal preference. And as you can see, the Headwolf FPad 1 and the Lenovo have the same size screen, but you'll see that the size of the tablets are a lot smaller. See that right there? It's a lot smaller, but the screen size is the same because the bezels on the Lenovo are smaller as well. That's the build quality of this. It's actually fairly light and it feels very, very nice to hold, actually. I really like light rubber tablets. Yeah, so let's look at the size of the tablet and then we'll go on to turn the screen on. So on this side, we have a power button as well as the volume buttons. And then up top, we have the USB-C charger, very nice in a cheap tablet. We also have headphone jack as well as a micro SD and a SIM slot, which is capable of 4G LTE, which is quite impressive, but I'll get into why I don't think this should be on this tablet, but we'll keep going. Okay, so talking about the screen, this is a 1280 by 800 pixel resolution screen LCD. As you can see, this screen is not amazing. Colors are whatever. Like, look at the color of this red, which is supposed to be decently red, and look at the color of my background over here. That looks really washed out to this compared to this. So the colors aren't super good. You'll see okay color reproduction. The resolution is 1280 by 800. It's obviously not as high as other tablets like my Lenovo, which does have a resolution of 1080p, but this is a cheap tablet, so what can you expect? And this tablet will do the job for most things. In fact, low resolutions on smaller tablets is not a bad thing, especially for gaming, which we'll get to in a little bit. But otherwise, screen here is decent. Let's move on to the touchscreen actually, and I'll show you what I mean. Now, the touchscreen here is probably the weakest part of this tablet. The touchscreen, as you can see, when you're touching it and you have a nice firm press, you press on it, and you drag it well, it's fine. As you can see, it's decently smooth, especially for a cheap tablet like this. However, the touch sensor on this tablet is smaller than it should be. So, when you're swiping, see what I mean? I just swipe there, and sometimes it just doesn't register a swipe. Sometimes it registers tap. Sometimes it just doesn't register at all. So, see that? I just swiped there, and nothing happened. I'll do this again. See, now it works. Other times, see, there, it didn't work. That works all the time on, okay, stop, more expensive tablet. So probably the weakest part, in my opinion, about this tablet is the touchscreen. It works. I will say that the target audience for this is not a tech person like you or me. It'll be for the tech person's family, children, grandmothers, mothers, fathers, etc., older people or younger people. And that's a problem with this touchscreen. You know how when an old person, they touch and nothing happens, and then they go, and then they're like, oh no, what's happening? I kept tapping and everything's going crazy. That could be a problem. So, just keep that in mind if you want to buy this tablet for an old person or a young person. It's not the most sensitive touchscreen compared to higher end tablets, and even like the Amazon Fire 10 HD is actually more sensitive than this. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. All right, talking about sound, we've got bottom firing speakers over here. They are, I mean, they're not great because this is a cheap tablet after all. They do the job, so I'll let you listen to it and see what you think. Of course, basically no bass at all in this tablet, but we'll keep going. Gets quite loud actually, so. Yeah, it definitely gets quite loud. Quality, of course, is not very good. You can hear there's a little bit of tinniness and a little bit of buzzing. I don't know how to describe that, but you know how when you hear some speakers that are really bad quality and then you can hear a little bit of buzzing? I can hear a little bit of it in here. So, yeah, not super good. Okay, we'll talk about battery life. As you can see, I'm at 37% right now. See what I mean by the touchscreen? It's really bad. 37% right now. Standby battery life was actually really, really good. I was really impressed. Standby battery life was 2% a night, which is, I gotta say, amazing for a cheap tablet like this. I could get around 6 hours of screen on time, maybe 7 if I'm stretching it, which is also not bad for a cheap tablet. So I'm actually fairly satisfied with the battery life on this tablet. Of course, if you want to game, you're not going to get 6 to 7 hours. You're going to get 2. But if you don't game and you do regular things, browse the web, for example, or, reading comics, reading books, etc., watching YouTube videos, you can get 6, 7 hours. So not bad there at all. And of course, moving on to the interface, the interface as well as the software. Here we are on Android 11. So Android 11. So there's that. It's quite decent that it's Android 11 on a new tablet. The biggest problem here is the 3 gigs of RAM. With the 3 gigs of RAM, you can only open 2 or 3 apps at the same time. You start doing that and you start running out of space. You really start running out of things really fast because 3 gigs is almost nothing, right? So as you can see, I got about a gig left. Trying to open up more things. So let's say, for example, books, right? So you keep opening things up and then it keeps going. Actually, you know what? It hasn't been going down, but that's fine. Yeah, so multitasking, obviously, as long as you clear your RAM, it should be okay. But if you don't, then you gradually start running out of RAM here. Now, in terms of gaming, I'm going to show you Genshin Impact, right? Genshin Impact is not a casual game. It's pretty intense. Now, the problem with this tablet is that even though the resolution is really low, 1280 by 800, the processor just is not powerful enough. The Unisoc processor is just not powerful enough to do that. And so what you get is you get very, very bad gameplay frames per second, even with the quality turned all the way down. So that's one thing you just have to be aware of, because with stuff like that, like, you can't expect to be able to play a intense game like this. What's going on? I got to update it. Oh, that's annoying. So while we're updating Genshin Impact, I'll just talk quickly about the Wi-Fi speeds. The speeds I got up to, I think, 4 megabytes a second, which is not super fast because I can get up to 150 on my Wi-Fi. So not very fast, but it'll do the job. That was the one thing I wanted to talk about. So you know how, oops, sorry, I bumped the camera. So you know how there's a SIM card slot here? Yes, it's good because then you can, tether, you can have data on it, but I think they should not have put the LTE card slot in here and all those radios, because that costs significant amounts of money. This is already marketed as a cheap tablet. Don't put that in here and bump the price up. Remove that, bump the price down. It's more attractive, because right now at $159, you can make it a lot more attractive. And I'll talk about the price later and about why I thought this, tablet was, crap, and why I, not to say changed my mind, but why I actually recommend it, even though I still think it's crap. So we'll keep going here, and we'll see if Genshin is done, and we'll go from there. And as you can see, this is a good opportunity to show you loading times for an intense game like Genshin. Not very good, because you only got 3 gigs of RAM, and it's going to be going and going. So I think the last time I tried to start up Genshin Impact, it took, how long was it? 3.5 minutes, something like that. So you're looking at 3.5 minutes of waiting before you even get into the game. So, yeah. Okay, I'm not showing you this because it's gonna take too long. And there we go, a showcase before I show you a less intense game that this tablet actually plays fairly well. See the speed right there? About 4 megabytes a second. Downloading, Genshin, for example. That's where you're topping out, so not amazing. Gotta get the job done. I mean, 7 gigs will probably take, I don't know, 2 hours. So, okay, so I'll show you how this goes. Balloons can be actually really intense. When you get into later levels and there's a lot of stuff happening on the screen, it can get really intense. But as you can see, it'll actually play fairly well at the beginning stages. So there we go. So it is still not super fast because I have played this on more powerful tablets, and it's, definitely better than what you see here. So actually, you know what? Let's restart this because you should be able to see the balloons. I don't know. I always default to put it in a spot which is the most efficient. So there we go. Now you can see the balloons being popped. But yeah, as you can see, it plays it well. I will say that it still is very, very slightly choppier, even at this early stage compared to more expensive tablets that I have. Let's see right here, for example, the Vast King Pad M10, I believe, which is this one right here. And it was actually pretty cheap. I actually, if they didn't ask me to take down the review, like, this is a really good tablet, but they just had quality issues on the ones they sent me, so I had to take the video down. But yeah, so like if you're playing, casual games, no problem at all. You have absolutely nothing to worry about. Actually, you know what? Here's a showcase actually about how slow this tablet is. So even though this game is not bad, like, it runs well, this is regular mode, right? And what happens when I hit fast forward? It should go to about 3 times the speed. And what happens? Nothing. It just stays at the same speed because it's just not able to process it enough. So yeah, that's one area that you can see that this tablet is not good, which is processing power. But that's what you get when you get a cheap tablet. So got to expect that. Okay, so what do I think of this tablet? So remember at the beginning when I said, oh, this tablet's crap, it's not good. And I thought it was going to be a no recommend, but I actually do recommend it. And the reason why I changed my mind is not because the tablet's bad, because it is actually pretty bad. But the reason why I changed my mind is because I didn't realize how expensive 8-inch tablets got. For example, this Lenovo that I have, this is like $230. That's a lot of money for a tablet that, to be honest, isn't that great either. Like, it's not aged very well. But this here is $159. Which is, I thought that was expensive, but apparently it's not. Like, even a Fire HD is around the same price. So if you're looking to buy a cheap tablet, like really cheap, like $150, this is about one of your only options. It's not a very good tablet. I mean, I'll get that out right now. This is basically suitable only for your child or your old parents / grandparents. And at the same time, I was talking about the touchscreen where sometimes it just doesn't register what you're doing. Or, for example, like you see right there, it registers it a swipe as a tap because the touch sensor is just not big enough, and it's trying to cover an 8-inch screen when it's supposed to maybe only be for a 5-inch screen, right? So that's one of the areas that this thing is just not very good. But for 150 bucks, you don't really have another choice. So if you're looking for a cheap tablet, this one's fine because it works. But I would highly, highly recommend you spend an extra 40 bucks, 50 bucks, and get the same company's HPad 10, I believe, which is a 10-inch version of this, and it's going to be so much better. So, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one.